Hello, and welcome to the Surplus Geek Podcast. I'm Jake, and I am joined once again by Bailey.
Hey, what's going on?
He's back again, folks, and he will be here hopefully for a few more if we can get him back on. But we'll see. This might be the last one for a while. We don't know yet. So, who knows?
I'm a busy guy. What can I say?
Yeah, he's got things to do. So, today we are discussing kind of loosely impressions, building kits out, building kits on mannequins, all that such. Take it away.
So my question is for you, Jake, is what makes it a kit or an impression?
I honestly don't know. I mean...
Did I stump you with my question, or...?
No.
Oh,
but
I thought it was a good question.
No, it is a good question. So we've been actually going to rack our heads over this for about 20 minutes because it is kind of one of those things like, we're not going to get into the impressions versus reenacting thing. We'll save that for another episode just because that's a huge tin of worms that needs to be opened. Not in a bad way, it's just a lot to unpack. We're not reenactors, we're collectors that happen to sometimes dabble in the LARPing world. But
it's just who we interact with and get our sources from, and actually,
yeah,
you know.
it's kind of it's that overlap in Instagram where you kind of have that kind of reenacting, impression kit, mannequin kit, all that stuff. And I guess like a kit to me is just what's going on. It's just the random. A kit could be anything really to me. It could be historical, it could be non-historical, it could be just something you put together out of random stuff because you felt like it. It'd be kind of fun. An impression to me feels more like something that you're basing it on something. And honestly, it doesn't have to be historical. You could be basing it on a video game character.
Yeah.
You could be basing it. You could be doing Half-Life. Seriously.
What a phenomenal game series.
But yeah, you could be doing the
HECU Marines, whatever they are.
Exactly. And that's, in my mind, that's a kit or an impression.
Thank you, Billy the Collector. He's actually been doing an impression on the HECU Marine uniform and kit, pretty much, on, I believe, his Instagram account. So you might have a post up on that. And he's also been talking to us about wanting to do a kit like that for a while now anyways, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, there's a couple people that have done them. They're cool. What is it? Uniform history. He did a video breaking down.
Oh yeah, he did. Yep.
Yeah, breaking down all the Marines from the games kits and stuff. So, So kit versus impression. That's what we're getting at. It's not really reenacting level, but you can be historically accurate. Can be specific to a unit. We're trying to break down how to not visualize, but how to what you want to do, I guess. So like era, specific battle maybe, all the way down to a specific unit in a battle, all the way down to a specific photograph or video that you see a dude that you want to emulate. But it can also be generic.
Yeah.
I know.
Like a mix match, pretty much.
Yeah, and you've had a little bit of an issue. We're not going to get into it too much because we don't want to cause any bad blood. But you've had a little bit of an issue with the generic thing where people were giving you a hard time. And
yeah,
like I said, we don't have to get into it. But what I'm saying is, I don't really like that only because it's like generic. Like it's kind of, to me, it's kind of like a misnomer almost, because you look at troops, they kind of are generic in a way. They're supposed to be kind of. So doing it generic, or like doing a kit or an impression based on official training video. Like, yeah, it's not what they probably would have worn in combat or overseas, because usually SOPs kind of go out the window because you find they don't work.
Yep.
But there's nothing wrong with doing that. I mean, that's, especially because I think people get a little hung up on the 60s only being Vietnam, when there's guys in the 60s that were going to Germany, and they did not get, like, for instance, I'm pretty sure, I could be incorrect on this, but I'm pretty sure the M16 didn't arrive in Germany until 1970. So they still were using M14s all the way through. All the nylon gear was getting cycled to Vietnam because that was the purpose of it.
Yep.
So, like, those guys were still using 56 all the way through. I mean, 56 was still heavily used in Vietnam all the way through the war, but, like, that's why, random side note, why the only one M60 variant of tank is in Vietnam, and it's the CEV version, the Combat Engineering Vehicle. M60s were only going to Europe because they were supposed to hold off the Russian horde.
An impending Russian attack.
Yeah. So M48s being the second up tank for us, kind of at that point. The M60 was starting to supplement it. The M48s went to Vietnam. You know, you have your A2s and A3s going to Vietnam. So that's kind of just, again, side note, but that's just, it's one of those things where I think people get a little hung up on eras and places and how things are different, like in World War II, difference between European theater and the PTO, the Pacific Theater of Operations, like how it changes. Same thing happens in modern day kits and impressions, Afghanistan versus Iraq, in the lead ups and over the years and how things changed. Because obviously in Afghanistan, you get to a certain point where multicam or, OEF, what is it? OCPEF? It had a different name than OCP, but like it was supposed to be like Enduring Freedom or whatever attached to it.
I don't know.
Well, it's multicam. They started issuing that instead of UCP. That was a specific thing to Afghanistan. I could be wrong again. Someone fact check me, but from my understanding, that's how that worked. And the way I look, like generic, you could do generic in the sense too that you're doing like a mid, a late, maybe an early kit, a post-war. Good example for a post-war, we were talking about this before, is post-war occupation of Japan, 1st Cavalry. Mm-hmm. It's kind of generic in the sense that you could just do whatever, but it's specific to the unit.
Yep.
And the 1st Cav in the post-war occupation had the 1st Cav patch like painted on the side of their M1s. It looks really cool, completely impractical for combat, but for like occupation force, who cares? Just one of those little things where it's like kind of specific, but it's not. It's also not really part of the war. It's a post-war thing, occupation thing. Just something to think about. I just don't think you have to do a specific, because you do generic. I do generic.
Yeah, I tend to do generic because it's just easy enough for me as it is. And some people love it when you get very specific now and then. Like, for example, like the battles, like what the soldiers would have worn during a specific time, like World War II. Like, let's say the Battle of the Bulge, you would have been wearing like in 1943, 4, like weather gear and stuff like that. Field
jacket and stuff, yeah.
Yeah, and stuff like that.
And like the warm weather, like under the cap.
Yep, it's for the helmet pretty much.
Yeah, yeah.
But people tend to be very strict sometimes from what I've, encountered in the community itself, especially on Instagram and even Reddit itself. Like, people be very strict upon like getting a certain type of item correct and stuff like that. And it all depends. For me, it all depends on what you can afford and what you think is a good impression or a kit. But it also comes down to photographic evidence, sometimes a video, and sometimes even talking to the person that they might have what they worn back, like in Vietnam. For example, I actually volunteer at the American Heritage Museum, and I volunteer with a person named Hugh. Great guy, by the way. And he was actually part of the field artillery. I forget what it was, but he did field artillery back in Vietnam. I think like late, probably 73, maybe 74 even. And I show him now and then like my generic Vietnam kit and what I'm doing and what I plan on getting. He goes, okay, well, you can do this, you can do that, and this is what I would have worn. My piece of equipment would have been a different way on. I would have had it upside down. I would have had this. And it's like, I can respect him because he was there.
Yeah.
He was there, and that's what they would have worn. Especially for these reenactors and impressionists. Sometimes they've seen combat. They've been in the service. Like Jake here, he's been in the service.
I haven't seen combat, though.
No, but not combat. But some have seen combat.
Just a weekend warrior.
And, it's what they would have worn.
Gotta be careful with that, though.
What's that?
Because, things change.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty much, collecting is always evolving no matter what.
Well, I mean, like, what we do nowadays versus then.
Oh, yeah.
They, like how to wear body armor and stuff. Marines wear most of the time, there's suspenders underneath.
Yep.
I know people think it's both the Army and Marines. It's kind of, the Army is kind of a mix. It's kind of depending on situation.
Yeah.
I found examples of both. I will say, not to get controversial, but I think the body armor thing, wearing the suspenders under or over, I think people harp on that a little too much to where it's a negative in the community, because I think the Marines guarantee, like, you can find tons of photos of...
Oh, because their suspender system was a lot thinner.
It's also different.
It is different.
Yeah.
It seems a lot more thinner because there wasn't much more bulkiness on the shoulders and stuff with the 56 pattern.
The Marines wore their body armor.
Yeah.
The thing is I think there's a lot of units in the Army that did. But the Army is so much larger than the Marines in terms of combat force.
Yeah.
That there's just less examples of the Army where the Marines are all wearing, either 52 or 55.
It's so small a force that there's so many more photographic evidence that they're always wearing the body
They're also
vest.
involved in battles like Battles of Way, the Battle of Way City.
Yeah.
Like that they're all, it. My point being is I think people harp on it too much to the point where it's a detriment to the community. I think that there's more than one way to do something. Again, you can find photographic evidence going both ways for the Army, suspenders on the inside, suspenders on the outside. I think it's a personal choice really for the troops. I don't think it was a dictated thing. I just think it's just one of those things. I don't want to make a big deal about it. I just think it's one of those things where, because we both run into this.
Yep.
And personally for me, I mean, again, I have to be careful because my modern perspective is you don't wear any of that underneath. Your body armor goes underneath everything. And if you're wearing IOTV, your flick goes on the outside, or you're attaching directly to the IOTV. But if you're, it goes back Pasget era, same thing. It was Alice gear on the outside. It's just it's just how it's designed and stuff. But when you get back further, I mean, yeah, I don't know. It's just one of those things, I guess. I don't want to harp on it too much.
Yeah, me neither.
But I know it's a little controversial.
It's just like we do have a stance of what we're trying to say, but then again, it's like
we're being careful.
Yeah, we don't want to dive too in and anger some people.
Yeah, I don't want to alienate anyone. It's not that I don't want to tell anyone to everyone can do the kit that they want to do.
Yep.
I just think that it's fine to educate people. The two things I'll say is, and we've said this, I think, in the researching episode, is try to back up what you're saying.
Yeah.
I'm not saying come up with 1,000 photos, but if you're sure of something, try to find examples going the other way. And it's kind of hard with Vietnam. It really is to find really good examples of Army wearing body armor. I mean,
I found a few examples, but there's just not so many examples out
exactly,
there, especially
yeah.
like you said, the Marines.
And I also think it's situational for the Army. Like, say you're wearing your flak vest, you're wearing your like, say you want to be able to ditch your flak vest whenever you want. Like, you do an ORP and you just want to ditch your flak vest. Like, you want it on top because it's just easy. You don't take all your web gear off. So I could see that there's rationale behind wearing it on top. I actually can see it. It doesn't really make sense to the modern day because body armor is kind of just an all the time thing. But back then, you would ditch all that gear. Drop your ruck, possibly drop your body armor because you need to be, move quickly, silently, not be encumbered by stuff, not be, you just want to be loose. And in that, you might drop all your gear and just grab bandoliers, throw a couple bandoliers over your shoulder, and then just, rifle, and that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, you see the guys running around just bandoliers and a rifle. So, I mean, I think that's all we're trying to say. Do what you want to do. Try to back up what you're doing if you want, but if you're doing for generic or if you're not going for historical, just make sure you say it's not historical. And people get on your case, you just say, hey, I'm not doing historical. It is what it is. You want to have a little bit of farb in your kit, maybe. That's just the type of person you are. I don't know. Some people do it. I'm not saying my kits are perfect.
Mine aren't either.
Like my variable body armor, when I did that, that law, post-date, it's not a nom-dated law. So I just threw it in there for the fun of it.
Yeah.
I'd like a dated law. Anyone's got a dated law that wants to sell me one. Or Bailey. Bailey wants
I want
one
one too.
Yeah.
Please.
But I know how those are kind of they're not unattainable, but they're kind of sought after. But the point being is, I guess, just, we don't want to dictate anything. This is just our opinions. We're trying to be chill here. That's pretty much it for that, I guess. I don't want to do all the talking, but real quick, my insert of why you won't see, for the most part, unit patches and certain rank on my kits and impressions. If I start doing and wearing stuff myself and standing in front of the camera, you're not going to see me wear, and this is not a gripe towards anyone else, this is just a personal choice. You're not going to see me wear a unit that I didn't personally earn the patch for, or is not a family member who I'm representing by wearing the uniform. For instance, World War I and World War II, I'm fine. I'll wear the 26th Infantry, the Yankee Division, because my unit happened to use that patch for the first part of my time in. Then we switched to a different unit patch, and then we switched to the 44th, which also has history. The middle patch was a new patch. It had no real lineage to it, no history. But the 44th also has lineage. So I'll wear patches related to units that I personally have some lineage to based on my time in. And the same goes for rank. Generally speaking, I will not wear rank higher than E4 because I was a specialist. If we get to a time frame like World War II, before the modern day rank structure was adopted in like the late 50s, I'll wear I'll go down a rank. You know, if it would be considered close to a corporal, for instance, I'll go down back a rank because I was an NCO, so I don't want to take that as a thing. I know some people it's not a big deal. It's just for me, I know what it takes to get unit patches. Kind of mean something. Same goes for CIBs, EIBs, paratrooper, like air assault, all those, sapper, ranger tabs, stuff like that. I'm not just saying ranger school tab, but like actual ranger bat tabs. Yeah, not wearing that stuff. Because ranger bat is ranger school is one thing. Ranger bat is a whole nother level. That means you're actually in a ranger battalion. It takes a lot to get that. Not even close. Just a weekend warrior. I don't wanna. It's just not my thing. Again, anyone else can do whatever they want. Totally fine. I have no issues with it. It's a personal choice where I don't want to do it. It's just because what it means to me. But I like my dad's uniform. I'll wear his uniform, first cav. If I do World War II, I might do 25th Infantry because my great grandfather. I don't know the unit, but my grandfather, my dad's side, was in the Navy in Vietnam, served in River Patrol. Might do that. But other than that, I won't really dive too far into the units and stuff. If I can do a unit that I've served in, great. But otherwise, I'm going to stay away from it, which, it limits me. I can't do some of the cool stuff. I gotta love to do. Oh, I don't even know. I mean, I guess I could theoretically do first cav during Vietnam, but it's not really the time that my dad served. So, my dad did the late 80s, but it's different.
I guess you could.
It's a it's different first cav too. They reorganized kind of post Vietnam. So, I don't know. It is what it is. I just wanted to throw that out there because I know it might eventually irk people. Maybe I'll do like U.S. Army patch, maybe name tapes and stuff like that. But I won't go beyond that for the most part. Like I said, the exceptions I already noted. That's pretty much it. But that's just how I feel about it. And again, no shame towards anyone who does otherwise. It's not a problem. It's just a personal choice.
That's understandable.
Yeah, it just patches mean something more to some people more than people realize.
Yeah.
They have there's unit pride in it. I mean, for us, when we lost our 26th Infantry Division patch, well, it would have been the 26th Mechanized Enhancement Brigade, but when we lost that patch, that really kind of sucked because we lost a patch that goes back to World War One.
Yep.
Well, kind of post World War One, but that's when that unit, because my uniform, my service, my dress uniform, I mean, it has a French fourragère, which is linked to, I think that's linked to World War One. There's a unit citation on there that's linked to World War One, possibly World War Two. Our battle streamers have things that are linked all the way back to that time. I mean, again, the unit I served in has lineage dating back all the way back to the formation of the 1st Militia in Salem, Mass. So there's a historical component of it, and as being someone that actually likes history and collects, obviously, while we're on here, it's cool, to be part of a unit that has such a long lineage to it. Even if it's not like a direct lineage, because some of the stuff is just, it's passed on. Like that unit isn't directly, the unit I was in didn't exist. And it's not like they're like, oh, here it is. This infantry regiment is formed in 1636. No, it's just they loosely tie it together and stuff. It's just kind of an honor thing. Yeah. But, I guess that's my little spiel on that. But we'll move on and get off that because we've talked too long. I guess the next thing is accessories, what you can do to, add to your kits to go beyond the basics.
So for accessories and pretty much the basics, like you said, would be right now I am trying to focus on completing my tropical rucksack for my Vietnam kit, or impression, I suppose. Yes, you could say it.
Later war, yep.
Later war, yeah, definitely. But in order to complete that rucksack, you're gonna need what they would have carried. Thank you, Tim O'Brien, for that very, very. Was it a good book or no?
I don't know, honestly.
Did you even read it?
No, I know what you're talking about. I don't know. I'm not an expert on this stuff.
No.
I only know so much. As we say, we're not experts. We're just guys that are collecting, trying to give out our history.
I think I read it back in high school. It was an awful book. I don't even remember. But anyways, the things it carried. Reference.
Roughly.
Gone.
Yeah.
Okay. Reference done and done. But yeah, it's loosely off what they would have carried on their patrols and whatnot in their rucksacks. But from what I've seen, heard, and talked to, it's basic stuff like towels, mostly canteens, food rations,
water, food,
socks,
ammo, socks.
clothes,
Socks is a huge one.
boxers, undershirts, anything like that, pretty much. But also for accessories as well, you got to think about ammo pouches, stripper clips, bandoliers, maybe grenades.
Yep, grenades. Yep.
If you want to do like a grenadier
Explosives.
roll. Yeah.
You know, some inert
Claymores.
Claymores. Yeah, claymores. C4.
Yeah.
Little packs of C4. You can find the props on eBay and stuff.
All these goodies are called accessories, which we love dearly to our hearts.
Yeah, accessories. Yeah. Law tubes.
Law tubes. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. In-date law tubes.
Oh, the list just goes on. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, we could list for days for what you could carry on your...
But we're not gonna because this is a podcast.
I mean, if you're doing Marines, give you a pack board with, in the early days, Super Bazooka.
Early war.
Super Bazooka rounds and stuff. They packed them on the pack board.
Yeah.
If mortarmen, pack board with mortars.
Yeah.
With the little tubes. It goes on for days. You know, all that stuff. The illumination flare. Those things.
Yeah, those
you know? Tear gas
tubes, yeah.
Maybe you're doing a kind of a tunnel rat kit, so you want your ruck to have like tear gas, an XM28 or an M17.
You want to be
in the
light
back.
as possible.
Well, I mean, they drop the ruck.
Oh,
but
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, you drop your ruck, go into the tunnel. But like, you know, stuff like that. That's all the little things that you can kind of add to it. And I'll say, like, don't worry about using airsoft guns, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah, they're fun.
If the airsoft gun is roughly close to what it should be, they're not. There's like a few good ones out there. Some of them are like good enough. They're not perfect, but like they get the job done. I personally, again, this goes back to what I said last time. I buy airsoft because honestly, I don't have the budget to buy real steel.
Real Steel M16.
We live in a state that's a little restrictive on that, so we can't really get to. It gets a little bit prohibitive on expense. And even I'm not even just talking real steel M16. I'm talking like an AR-15 clone.
Yeah.
Like a BRN 16 from Brownells. But like I can't in my state just because of restrictions. So airsoft takes it's a good way to have something that looks realistic, as long as you get a good one. And even if you're on a budget, get a bad one, or not a bad one, but get one that's not as accurate, a little bit less detailed.
Most of the times they are going to be less detailed because they don't want to be exactly like an exact replica of an actual firearm.
You know, remove the orange tip at your own risk.
If you can.
Yeah, if your state doesn't have a specific law. I mean, it's a federal thing to sell with an orange tip, but some states don't have restrictions on that. You can do what I do where, you have some sort of flag, like a cover or something if you want to remove. And that way it's always covered that way no one makes a mistake. Safety first for anything gun related, even if it's airsoft. Safety rules always apply. Can't state that enough. Especially in this day and age, really safety first, like big time. You got to be the example in that. But yeah, airsoft's great. Replica guns are great too. There's a lot of non-firing replicas. Again, check your local laws and make sure you're following them correctly. But replica guns can be really good too if you want something that's got a little bit more heft to it or is properly weighted. And like I was saying in the last episode, I like doing the airsoft because it's cheaper. Not super cheap, but it's significantly cheaper than a real gun. Sometimes there's some expensive airsoft guns out there, but you can spend more money on airsoft. I mean, you can spend more money on military surplus. Sorry, so you can spend less money on buying a gun, buying one gun that you can buy a couple airsoft guns and military surplus, which opens up, or a replica gun. Like Bailey bought my replica M16, and it's not the greatest thing in the world, but it is cool that it's weighted fairly correctly. It feels pretty good in the hand. So it's just. Those are little things that little detail can add so much to your impression or your kit. And again, this isn't like anything new to some people out there, but I just wanted to put that out there. Just, I don't think there should be any shame in having an airsoft gun. I think you can do a lot with airsoft.
Yeah.
Even if you don't play airsoft. Like I don't really play. I used to play airsoft in high school, and I don't really do it anymore because I just don't really honestly have time. If I had more time, probably, but I just don't have time. I'm just too busy.
I never played it.
Oh, really?
I thought about it when I was a kid, but...
Oh, we used to play a lot, like every other weekend.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
See, I thought about it when I was a kid, but just like overall, like within the years, it's just like, eh.
Oh, we had...
Not my type.
We had at one point, we had 10, 15 kids. We'd go out to this forest that's like by one of our friends' house. He'd be a staging ground. We'd go out to the forest. We'd set up games. They had like a whole thing set up. It was good. For kids, dude, as teenagers, it was great. We had little like bunkers set up out of wood and stuff. It was cool. So I understand the love for airsoft. It's great. But, that's a good accessory right there. Just having that. Bandoliers. Oh, and you can get resin or plastic fake magazines. 20 rounders, 30 rounders. You can get Thompson
Blocks
mags.
of woods.
Blocks of wood, great for budget. But if you want to step that extra further, you get the plastic or resin. There's also, you can get, a lot of people make like early, late, mid, Mark II pineapple grenades. The different scheme of color, because obviously they paint them yellow, and then eventually went to the band, all that stuff.
Yep.
Those usually look pretty good. Gotta kind of be careful with, if it's all you could do, it's all you can do. But you kind of gotta be careful with the paperweight fake grenades that you can find. Because a lot of those, like I'm pretty sure the M26 type is based on, I can't remember what it is, but it's based on the training version of it, and there's actually a slightly different shape to it. Again, that's getting into like the finer details. Like again, who cares if you can't afford something better? But if you can, some people make really good paint job replica. Smoke grenades are something that are hard to get. I'm just gonna say that I want a smoke grenade. Someone sell me like a replica smoke grenade, because they're all sold out at the moment. I really want to get some smoke grenades,
and they're hard to come by nowadays.
Yeah, I don't need a real one. I just want a replica. Something that looks good that I can. And if it doesn't look great, I can paint it myself if I have to.
Yeah, they offer like stencils and paint jobs as well.
Exactly. Yeah. So like those are all great options too, that are out there that you can do. So those are just things to think about, with accessories and stuff. If you can, it all comes. If you can't, you can't. Budget. I can't say this enough. You got to budget. You gotta play around with the money that you have and see and try to get the best deal and just look around for cool stuff. And that's just what you have to do. It is what it is when it comes to that stuff. I do it all the time. There's a lot of stuff. I want to get some more resin mags myself to fill out some of my pouches and stuff to give them more. But wood works great. Wood can work great. Heck, if you have, even if you're underage, if you can get your dad or your mom to cut you some wood to the shape roughly, that's good enough.
Yeah.
Can't stress enough that it doesn't matter if you're underage, or you're adult. Anyone can do this stuff. You just have to use what you have, and obviously follow your local laws. And if you got restrictive parents, you got to work with that until you become an adult, and then that changes and stuff. But you got to do what you can do. And I feel for you if you have restrictive parents that don't. I as long as you're smart about your hobby, I would hope your parents could see that you're trying to do something. There's a value to this. It's not just random stuff. There's history. There's value. There's something going on here. So, that kind of brings us to our last thing,
which is my question.
Yeah, what is your question?
What is my question? You want to know?
I do want to know.
My question is, what makes it a kit?
Is that your question?
Yeah, that's my question.
I thought is there another question after that?
Oh yeah, I forgot about that one.
We already answered the what is a kit.
Yeah, that's true. So my other question would be, would you ever be able to complete a kit?
Okay, so I will take the yes on this because it's a yes and no thing. So yes, you can complete a kit. A good example is the tank crewman that I did. It wasn't perfect in my mind, but I was basing it loosely off of a natural photo in Vietnam. There was some minor differences. He had a 56 with Davy buckle instead of the normal buckle hook and loop. But that kit's complete in my eyes. It's already taken down kind of. I've already started moving on to the next kit. But that kit's completed in my eyes. Yeah, you can definitely complete a kit. But on the flip side, you also sometimes it's ever evolving.
Which is my stance on it being a no, that you can never complete a kit. Because with me, I'm always looking, buying, and always evolving my kit in a certain way. Like, I wasn't expecting to purchase a rucksack and be like, oh, hey, rucksacks, I got a rucksack now. That's cool. Oh, no, you got to stuff that bad boy with your goodies and accessories in there to make it, a complete kit, in my opinion. Which is what, I am trying to accomplish right now. And
I think you're doing a good job at it, too. You showed it to me today.
Oh, I thank you. I'll probably be making a post about it very, very soon. By the time this episode comes out.
I hope so. You said that before and you didn't do it. Hey. You still got to take a poster. You got to take a picture of that poster, man.
I have a picture of my poster, but it's not that good. So I'll try to take a better one soon.
which, goes back to the last podcast where we talked about, angles and lighting.
All right. Anyways.
I'm calling you out. Hold it to them, people. Yeah.
But
that goes, all that kind of feeds into itself because, like, the accessories, the picking an era, that all goes into what he's doing with his tropical rucksack, for instance, trying to figure out what would be in the rucksack typically for an infantryman, late Vietnam, U.S. Army. He's not really picking a unit per se, but he's picking a generalization and filling it up with stuff. And it's fairly heavy, actually, at this point, not even including the fact that it's empty canteens at the moment. Filled those canteens up. You're adding 5, 6, 7, 8 pounds.
Might try that one day.
Oh, God.
That's going to fuck it.
Just make sure you drain them correctly and make sure you dry them out correctly, because I can tell you, canteens get gross.
Oh, yeah. Very
gross if you don't take care of them.
Sludgy.
Yeah, it's nasty. But, so that basically wraps it up. I would say, again, this all boils down, I know I did a lot of talking again, but this all boils down to, do what makes you feel good, but back it up. Don't just do it for the heck of it. Back it up. Try to, rationalize your position. And it's fine. Again, like I said, you can do anything you want. You're basing it off a movie, a video game, TV show, real life. The idea you had in your head, that's fine. Like an original character type thing. That's awesome. And more power to you. So I think, don't let, you don't be a jerk back, but don't let the jerks get you down. But rationalize your opinion. And if you think that you know something and you can back it up with sources and stuff, don't be afraid to throw it out there.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be afraid to bring it up. Don't be afraid to try to educate, And if they rebut with something that, changes, and this goes back to what we were talking about researching a couple episodes ago. So
yeah,
these all kind of feed into each other. And it's all been kind of the point, is to build upon the last one and keep going. So I hope that we're doing that.
I hope so too.
I hope that these are as interesting as we hope they are, and I hope that you guys are enjoying them. And I mean, like I said, this might be the last one with Bailey.
Who knows? I don't know.
And he didn't do a lot of talking this one, so I apologize for the Bailey lovers out there.
Hopefully we can get 1 or 2 more in before
running out of time.
Do a big adult move very relatively soon.
Yeah, he's going
don't
away. I'm not going to say anything.
Don't say anything.
I'm just saying you're going away.
I want it to be my announcement, not yours.
It's my announcement now.
This is your podcast anyways, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is true, using my but he's going away, so he's not going anywhere crazy. It just won't be in the same state for a little while. So
for a while.
It'll be hard to meet up and do things. So I will try to fill in with others. So I guess real quick, this is just kind of a little update at the end of this one. I'm going to try to fill in with some other people. I got some people lined up for some rather different topics that don't directly deal with military surplus. There's still a few people that I'm trying to get on. Hopefully they'll be interesting. If by the time this one goes out, if you guys want to hear, if you guys have a topic that you think needs to be discussed, even if I can't discuss it with Bailey, throw it at me. Throw me a DM on Instagram.
Don't throw me a DM. I was just linking to him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and try to tell us an idea and stuff. And if I have to do one solo, I'll do one solo. If you guys think you can handle listening to me for an hour, if I think I can handle myself talking by myself for that long and be interesting, that's something that I am totally open to. Trying to find out. I mean, I have a list of ideas, but like trying to build upon those ideas can be difficult. So eventually, I would like to have other guests, but I still got to figure out a reliable way to do it over the internet. Eventually, there's some people online that I like to do some things with. But I just I want the quality to maintain the same, and that's very difficult. If the person's international or not, what type of internet they have, all that. So it's not that I don't want to do it. It's just I want to maintain a certain level of quality.
Yeah.
This is all. We're not experts. I'm not an expert on podcasts. I'm not an expert on any of this. But at the same point, I don't want to waste your guys' time. So hopefully y'all are enjoying this. Bailey, if this is the last one, we'll see you in 6 months. Ish.
Yeah, I would say
6 months, depending on when this episode goes up.
I would hope not. This is my last episode. I hope to be on 1 or 2 more, probably.
It's up to you.
I'll try to.
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe, maybe not. But if it is, everyone, hope you enjoyed Bailey for this first few episodes now.
Yeah.
5-6 episodes. And he'll be back. I will say this: once he's back from where he's going, we'll resume and stuff. So, I'm aiming for about 20 to 25 every year. of episodes
It's a pretty good goal.
with some breaks built in, so we can take a break and not have to rush to get these done. So with that, Bailey, it's good to have you back.
Hey, thanks, Jake.
And I will sign off, and we will call that an end.